So today we have this Mercruiser boat 5.7 liter Mercury engine. So let's get it in a workshop. Since the boat is completely dead, so we started with removing cooling system piping to access fuel lines, because the boat wasn't able to start. The owner said the starter is gone, so we're gonna have to look into that, and of course clean fuel lines and change the oil filters and stuff like that. So for the easier access to the fuel lines, we had to remove cooling piping, and as you can see, cooling piping is full of crap, so all that had to be cleaned out. And of course we checked for all other liquids for the power steering and hydraulics, and of course we had to change oil on this beautiful V8 engine. Oil on this American V8 muscle engine drains pretty easy, so it's easy to change because American engineers believes in simplicity. And in terms of cooling system, these engines, marine engines, has quite complex cooling system, and usually the cooling pumps fail because they got like propeller which one sucks in water, and if them little flaps wears out, so it doesn't pull enough water through. Just to remind you that this engine is completely dead, electric's dead, and our mission is to give this boat another life. And as you can see, there's belts missing for engine essentials. So as you can see in the video, started to take off exhaust piping off, but it was a mission to get it off, so we had to do it off the camera. And so then we started to do fuel systems. You can see fuel filter that's been on there for years, and it was full of rust. So, and fuel filter is off, fuel lines disconnected, but the next thing was to undo the filter itself, which one was a mission because it was there for ages. And next step was to remove fuel pump, which one is mechanical fuel pump for these engines. So basically when the engine runs, it keeps pushing it with a little like a rod, and it keeps pumping fuel to the carburetor. So that's the next step to take it off. you can see, the fuel pump is off. We got it off quite easily. And next step was not to lose the bolts, so we put them back in a place, and the next step is to pull it apart and see if it's cleanable and if it's possible to rebuild it. And as I go, of course, during all the process, because you can't get stuck on one thing, so as I was going, I was checking all the electrics, which one's needed, I cleaned it out, which one's clean, I just checked if everything makes and if there is continuity. So during the process of repairs, I had to keep my client informed, because he contacting on a Facebook, so I kept sending him videos of the stuff have to be done, have to be cleaned and have to be rebuilt. So yeah, that's the way I'm doing my work. So I finished removing all the rest of the fuel lines and proceeded with a fuel pump, because I had to pull apart and see if I can clean it and rebuild it. The main thing in these fuel pumps, you need to look at if the membranes, suction membranes, they are not damaged. So that's the main thing, and then you take it from there if you can clean it, repair it, and rebuild it. And at the times when I got stuck like these with the fuel pump, because the bolts wasn't that easy to pull, so I took another step and had a look at the starter itself, because the client said that the starter is dead and have to be replaced. So I just wanted to see if it's not seized during a salt water and humidity. So I pulled the starter apart and it was seized. I cleaned out solenoid, I cleaned out starter itself and basically wanted to hook it up to the battery and just check if it works, if the solenoid pulls in, if it energizes, and see if the starter needs to be changed, or we just can use the old one and save client some money. So I hooked up starter to the battery. It's basically plus goes onto the terminals to the starter itself, and minus you put it on a casing. And starter was fine, it was cleaned out and it was fine, it was working like a new. And in this case we saved client money, so he didn't have to buy a new starter. So yeah, that worked, and after that I proceeded back to the fuel pump. And as you can see, I had to use even a blowtorch to undo the bolts on fuel pump casing, because I mean they just sit in there like welded on. And finally I pulled it apart, and when I opened it up I was shocked. It was full of dust. It's just enormous amount of dust in there. I mean, I think it's from a salt water, or probably humidity, or maybe there was a water in the system or whatever, but that was massive amount of dust in there. And it turned out that the membranes are fine, and I could be able to try to repair it, clean it out and rebuild it. And I want to mention, when you pull these things apart, you have to be very careful, because I mean, for these old V8 engines, parts is not that easy to get. You can order them online, but it's not as easy, and you have to be very careful if you want to clean it and rebuild it. In this case, I mean, the membranes was okay, and I had a hope that this fuel pump can work. It took me a long time to pull it apart, clean it out and put it back together, and I had to use a sealant as well, which one was used before. But I mean, time wise it took, I mean, 2-3 hours to just to rebuild a fuel pump. I mean, I think the longest part it took for me to scrape off the old sealant, which one had to be done with a knife, carefully scrape everything off, because he was sitting there for years, just to make the casing joints and the membrane clear of old stuff. next time I promise to readjust my GoPro so you can see the process, because I mean I was holding fuel pump close to me and scraping it off, all the old sealant. So that's why you see random stuff on a video. And that stuff was until I was repairing the engine. My wife was cleaning out inside of the boat, giving it proper chemical cleaning, because the boat came to us very dirty, and she did a good job to clean all that out. first mission was to clean it properly out. So I was using brake cleaner and a contact cleaner. The contact cleaner, to be honest, works better because in there's alcohol, and that clears out all that stuff properly. And as you can see in my video, that's the contact cleaner that I'm using to clean out the fuel pump. So once all was cleaned out, I had to reassemble it, and you're gonna see in my video I'm using proper sealant, which one is used for fuel pumps, water pumps, and it's heat resistant. So once the pump was reassembled, I proceeded with taking off carburetor, which one needed a proper clean as well, because the fuel pump was full of crap. So the same thing, probably worst, was in a carburetor. And when I mentioned the carburetor is very complex, well, it's not as complex as any EU made, but I mean it's still complex, and as you can see I got it off and I had to pull it completely apart in little pieces so I can clean everything out. Main thing is jets and all the little channels where the fuel travels, and had to make sure everything is clean. So, and again, when you see I got bored of carburetor, I'm coming back to the starter, because the starter is working, and I'm putting it back together because the solenoid was working. I just wanted to put it back together, all of it, and see if it works as a whole. And then again, as you can see, once the starter was all together, I hooked it up back to the battery and just checked if it works together with the solenoid as a whole, just to make sure and double check. And once I'm finished with the starter, I got back to the big mission, the carburetor itself. And in the meantime, some of my cooling system pipes was cleaned out, so I put one side back on, as you can see. And of course, always clean all the joint places of the parts. So in this case, I cleaned out where the fuel pump fits, and as you can see in the video, I put fuel pump back on. It was a bit of a mission because of the rod which one runs inside the engine, and it wasn't that easy to put it on. I needed a few attempts to get it on. Just want to remind you that I don't work on a V8 every day. And once the fuel pump was on, I came back to the bigger mission, pulling apart the carburetor, cleaning it out, putting it back together and readjusting it. I mean, if you never ever pulled a carburetor apart before, I would suggest you to record it on camera so you can remember where all the parts goes, because it can be quite tricky. And I mean, pulling it apart and cleaning it and reassembling it, rebuilding it, took quite a long time, because there's loads of little parts, needles, springs, splint pits, split pins, you name it, and you have to remember where all that went, and you have to put it back together as it was. And besides, when you are removing fuel adjustment screws, you need to readjust them so the engine works properly and it gets enough fuel. And to clean carburetor, first I use a brake cleaner rag, and then on top of that I use the contact cleaner just to clean off all the residue what is left, and to give it a better cleaning. at this point I was working during the night in my workshop because I didn't want to hold up the boat and get it done for the client as quick as possible. So at this point I'm already rebuilding a carburetor. As you can see, you have to remember everything. I didn't check videos or stuff like that. I just have a good memory and doing it off the top of my head. Of course I had little things which ones I didn't remember how it went correct way, so I had to try different ways just to make sure it fits properly and it works properly. That's the main thing. And as you can notice, it took quite a time to pull it apart, clean it out, rebuild it, reassemble it, readjust it, and it's quite a piece of work to do that. course there was things that was done off the camera because I forgot to put it on, or either battery ran out or memory card was full. And like for example, cleaning flywheel, it was done off the camera because it was too messy and it wasn't comfortable with a camera on my head to do it. And yeah, it took quite a long time to do all the work that was necessary on this boat. And as you can see, carburetor is rebuilt, reassembled, all cleaned out, and I'm putting it back on. And then after the carburetor, I proceeded with cleaning out all the electrical components, because all that had to be done just to make sure that this engine can fire up. So I proceeded to put back on all the cooling system pipes, which ones I cleaned out, just to make sure there is no dirt in a system. Of course, checked carburetor if everything works, throttle works, and all that stuff. And another thing is air filter that comes on the top. It's very simple, but the air filter was dirtiest thing I ever seen. I used, I don't know, about 2 cans of brake cleaner and contact cleaner just to get it cleaned, so our V8 can breathe properly. So at this point I was going through all the electrics on a boat, cleaning everything out, changing the spark plugs, and it was during the night, because I finished this boat roughly 2 o'clock in the night, and yeah, changed the spark plugs, cleaned all the electrics, and all the electrics was just filthy on this boat. And of course, the startup was proven to be good, and I proceeded putting it back on. And then the next day came. I was trying to try to at least turn engine with a starter, but it turned out the electrics needed to be cleaned more. It was a bit frustrating because I was hoping that it will at least it will turn the engine over, but it didn't, so I had to do more electrical cleaning, and it takes ages to undo each wire, each connection, clean it out, because you can't just spray it and put it back on. You have to properly clean it, and that again took for me ages and ages. At this point, I was already living in a garage. I mean, working from early morning until the late night, like 2 o'clock. And my wife was getting a bit pissed off, but I wanted to get this boat done. Can see here I was trying to hook it up to the battery, all system together, and try to turn the engine, and I didn't have a luck with it, and I'm still was missing fuel filter, which when I got delivered by the client, it turned out he had fuel filter bought for another boat, which one I'm gonna be fixing as well, and you're gonna see in next videos. And another thing is the key for this boat was damaged, and there was just a wires hanging, and it was very frustrating for me to get it. I mean, for the starter to kick in and turn over the engine. So after several failed attempts to get the starter turning engine, I had to go back to the electrical cleaning because I mean, it just wasn't letting power through to the key, and I tried to fire it up from the starter itself, but it seemed like something was shorting out, and it was draining out the battery. So I had to check all electrics and go back to the square one. while I was doing my work, and quite a lot of fake profiles on Facebook kept texting me, but you know, I keep blocking them. So as you can see, all the electrics had to be cleaned, and I had no business with fake profiles on a Facebook, so I had to get my job done, and I couldn't give client boat back when it doesn't work. My target all the time is get my job done, and this pump, it's basically all the electrics on it was completely messed, so it took for me a long time to clean just this little pump. was a lot of work and effort put in this project, and I mean, I promised client that this boat will work, so I had to do anything at all just to get this boat working. And of course, with electricity involved, taking off a panel just behind the dashboard inside a little room at the front where the sofa's located, because there's a fuses and all the main harnesses and stuff. So I had to take it off and clean out all the harnesses and check all the fuses, clean out fuse sockets, just to make sure that everything works. front panel sorted, I came back to the pump and electrics and engine because I had to get them 100% clean, 100% working, and I couldn't make any mistakes. So this is part 1 of Mercruiser repairs, and there's another part coming, so see you in the next videos so you can see the result at the end. Okay guys, our project is not finished, and I'll see you in a part 2, so keep watching.